Sometimes, just sometimes, those tall stories that hunters tell are true. Deep in the forest, nature has 1,000 eyes.
Was ist denn da? Schau dir das an, so ein Raumviech, einfach.
You thieving black devil! In the heart of Austria, there lies a valley of tranquil beauty. The Alm River emerges from the rocky barrier of the Todesgebirge, the Dead Mountains, and meanders northward through vast forests. On the way, it passes through places that have made the valley famous over the years. There's a game park, for instance, that seems to merge subtly into the wilderness. Barely 1 kilometre downstream is the home of the grey geese. These world-famous birds live around the idyllic Konrad Lorenz research station. Some of them even knew the Nobel Prize winner personally. And then there's the village of Grunau and the main characters in this story. A busy minister, a normally even-tempered hunter, an enthusiastic young biologist, and a flock of brainy, pitch-black birds who are masters of seeing without being seen. Ravens. These black members of the crow family have many secrets. Since ancient times, the truth about them has been shrouded in legends and fables. Every winter, hundreds of thousands of choughs and other smaller members of the family flock into cities, but none have gripped the human imagination quite like the raven. Twice the weight of a common crow, with a wingspan of 4 feet and mental abilities that are unique among birds, this is the stuff of legends. In a Nordic myth, King Odin sends a pair of ravens to the ends of the world. At night they return to whisper the world's secrets in his ears. Ravens feed on carrion. They would descend on battlefields and places of execution, and so the idea grew that they were able to predict death. Such stories flourish in the Alm Valley. When fog shrouds the land, ghosts and ghouls seem to flit among the trees. There was a time when no one doubted that elves and fairies lived here. The veils of fog, it was said, are the snow-white washing of the mountain fairies. When a stranger approached, the fairies vanished, leaving a fragrance of roses in the air. Fog and clouds give rhythm to the valley, in summer as in winter. In the middle of winter, weeks can go by without a single ray of sunshine. This is the time of the ravens. From all over the Eastern Alps, they gather here, a crowd of up to 140 youngsters united by hunger. It's one of the largest permanent flocks of ravens in Central Europe. Their only purpose in coming here is to share the food of the park animals. The main attraction of the day is the feeding of the wild pigs early in the morning. This scene may only be watched by people who are personally known to the birds. Ravens are extremely distrustful and shy. The ravens and the pigs have one thing in common, a truly indiscriminate appetite. The highlight of the morning show is riding the wild sow, a popular sport among the Alm Valley ravens. They've been doing this for many years, but it had never been possible to photograph the rodeo. This has changed since biologist Thomas Bugnar started his research here. It's taken him a year to be accepted by the ravens as a harmless, if somewhat peculiar creature. They now let him come close and watch. The pigs serve as workbenches. If an animal gets in the way of dinner, the ravens try to chase it off. The main thing for both species is that they get enough to eat. The leading boar even seems to enjoy the show. Dancing on pigs is a privilege of the ravens with more experience and status within the community. Only they can claim the piggyback bonus. Adult birds are rarely seen in the park. They live in pairs in large forest territories in the surrounding mountains. The veils of fog have suddenly turned into snow clouds. The ravens bring their booty to safety, sometimes in strange places. They try to hide what they've found from their companions for minutes, hours, or even days, so that they can get more while the going's good. These secret depots are always found again and never forgotten. After a seemingly endless succession of dark, bleak days, the sun finally takes pity on the Alm Valley. The Alm Valley is an ancient traditional hunting ground. Hunters of rank and standing, among them the Emperor Maximilian, have followed their sport here. Today, professional game wardens manage the valley's wildlife. The guts of a red deer have been left behind by hunters. Now they enable others to survive the frosty weather. The previous year brought an abundance of mice, and now the buzzards are more numerous than ever before. So much so that they're getting in each other's way. Only those who eat their fill will survive the bitter winter nights. In such hungry times, even hawfinches turn into carnivores. This might shed new light on tragic stories of lumberjacks who have disappeared from the face of the earth. This young buzzard feels like lunch, but the slope of the ground gets in the way. There seems to be no way out. Better to beat an orderly retreat than to take an unintended dive. An adult raven has come on the scene. Not one of the park's teenagers, but an experienced old bird. One of those with a raven's reputation of surpassing all other birds in complex intelligence. Buzzards, by contrast, are rather simple-minded. Instead of getting what they can and then flying off, the buzzards get caught up in a continuous scrimmage. It's the same with television. Repeats are boring. But it's free. The raven has obviously decided to watch to the end. What is he thinking? He doesn't seem very hungry. Is he just interested in the buzzard's play? He approaches casually, just an innocent bystander. The raven has finally come to a decision. A buzzard is a buzzard and must be humiliated. It's one of the wonders of nature. There seems to be no connection between the buzzard's tail and its brain. Disappointed, the raven leaves the set, and soon the buzzard too finds something better to do. In the valley, the grey geese have come to feed. Their lives have been scientifically documented for decades over several generations. Apart from Jane Goodall's chimpanzees, there is no other group of vertebrates that has been so carefully studied. Much has been found out about relationships, traditions, the effect of hormones, and much of it has helped better to understand humans. In the game park, ravens are now billing and cooing on every tree. But it seldom results in steady relationships. These are the teenagers' first love affairs. The whole aim of the business is to get more intimate. The female expects small gifts of food to prove his serious interest. The male may not be all that serious, though. He keeps her at a distance with his feet. Some ravens try to impress potential partners with acrobatic tricks. They only perform when they're sure they have an audience. The ardent flirtation is only interrupted at meal times. After breakfast with the pigs, the second stop in the daily routine is lunch with the wolves. The wolves' cafeteria is a dangerous place. With quivering throats and sleek feathers, the ravens try to inch towards the pieces of meat. Their exact judgment of distance stands between them and violent death. The birds carry off up to half of the meat, and thus the game park accidentally manages to imitate the natural competition for food between wolves and ravens that has been observed in Alaska. Small wolf packs are pressed for time to eat their kill. After a few days, the meat will freeze. When the wolves' jaws have to give up, the ravens' sharp beaks can still break the frozen meat, so that wherever there are wolves and carcasses, ravens are never far away. Now the ravens are full of life. In good flying weather, the mating show takes to the air. An established pair can be recognized by its perfectly synchronized maneuvers. Developing relationships like this one cannot yet compete with the professionals. These two have already built a close relationship and are working on their choreography. Intimate partners can become acrobatic stars. Direction, speed, and attitude are perfectly matched. The name of the game is to show all your tricks and all your creativity. Temperatures are now getting more pleasant by the day, and the Alm Valley presents itself in a new costume. While bluish-grey shadows still fill the valley bottom, spring is already winning through on the higher slopes. Days like this turn behaviorists into sun worshippers. For the ravens, the new warmth makes no difference to their continued flirting. A raven's beak is as hard as steel and as precise a tool as a pair of tweezers. It can remove even the smallest specks of dirt from the skin. Partners groom each other only in places they can't reach themselves. Even we can see how good it feels. In the game park too, the sun is very welcome. Now is an interesting time for the researchers. It's the breeding season. High on the rock walls, many pairs of ravens already have young chicks. The wide-open beaks of the young and their large gullets show that ravens are, technically, songbirds. Periodically, the parents collect the young birds' droppings and deposit them some distance away. At last, life is bursting out all over. The snow on the mountains is melting, and torrents from all sides are quickly filling the Alm River. It's the end of May. In the village of Grunau, it becomes obvious that the Alps are a Catholic stronghold. On the borderline between rain and sunshine, the Corpus Christi procession raises memories of times when there were no cars and no tourists in the valley, and the sky was wide and open. A few hundred wing beats away from Grunau, a lot has happened. The young ravens in the nest have grown enormously. Now they need a lot of food, and they never give their parents a break. The parents carry the food in a pouch in their throat. As soon as one parent has fed the begging youngster and flown off, the other parent arrives with new food in an unremitting round. As so often, flocks of clouds drift over the Alm Valley. And then, suddenly, summer is here. The afternoon sun heats up the rocks, plaguing the young ravens. Looking for shade, one of them has gone dangerously far from the nest. The heat makes him pant like a dog, and there is still no shade in sight. So where should he go? Straight ahead? Or is it better to stay put? The young raven does not yet know how to fly. But the heat is too much. He's unhurt, but his embarrassing mishap does not go unnoticed. Over there, behind the trees, something's glittering. The silent observer is heading in the same direction. This is exactly what he wanted, a cool, shady place. The raven has never seen water before. And the fox cub has never seen a raven. The raven's courage stems from ignorance. Ravens learn from their parents to be suspicious of anything unfamiliar, but he has not yet learned his lesson. Like all young mammals, fox cubs test unfamiliar objects by biting them. Both parties seem baffled. The meeting ends peacefully, each goes his own way. The old ravens will soon find their wandering chick and take him back to the nest, and the fox cub will return to the safety of his mother's den. The upper Alm Valley is a peaceful, soothing place. The air is as clear as the waters of the Alm River. There's no through traffic in the valley, and the days pass with an almost dreamlike tranquility. At the Konrad Lorenz Research Station, the ravens are not the only blackbirds to be seen this year. In the past, the bald or hermit ibis was often confused with the raven, although ibises and ravens are not related. A breeding population in Austria was destroyed in the 17th century. Today, the hermit ibis is one of the most endangered birds in the world. These young birds have come from a zoo and are being hand-raised for a research project to learn more about them. It would be possible to reintroduce them to the Alps, at least in theory. In suitable working clothes, the leader of the project personally records this unique moment. Hermit ibis have not flown free in the Alps for centuries. Raven researcher Thomas Bugnar is on his way to his study area in the game park. In the Raven's luxurious compound in the park, live animal experiments are carried out every day. One of those cruel researchers makes his victims feast on cheese and French fries to observe their behavior. The ravens have to open plastic film cans and must learn rules and recognize colors. The boss of the group wears a blue wing band. But the bravest and cleverest of the birds has already taken his off. White, that's the one who interferes with anything the others do. Yellow is the only female. She needs to be impressed. The story of these 4 research ravens began 2 years ago when they were hand-reared by a student. Here they're just 19 days old and need to be fed around the clock. When the little ravens are fully grown, they will demonstrate their mental abilities in special tests. They are thought to be cleverer than parrots and no less intelligent than apes. Intelligent beings like these need lots of tender, loving care. A few weeks later, the nestlings are playfully prepared to face the world. Their intelligence makes ravens flexible and adaptable to changes in their environment. They need to find food, to avoid being eaten themselves, and to hold their place within their own community. These requirements have also been the driving force in the development of human intelligence, upon which raven research may shed new light. But back to the film cans. As was to be expected, the most courageous of the ravens, the one without a wing band, is the first to investigate the cans. His reward? Cheese and French fries. What follows is typical of the way they behave. The female is fascinated. The hero carries off his booty in his crop and hides it. The white-banded one has watched everything. Contentedly, the hero hops away. But as always, the white one puts a spoke in his wheel. He seeks and he finds. But the boss too likes French fries. Now it's the white one's turn to hide what he has found, and even a little extra. It works. His treasures are perfectly hidden and safe. But not for long. In a compound, no matter how big, nothing can be kept completely secret. The boss knows all the hiding places and enjoys his meal. While the brass band plays an evening concert on the lake shore, dark figures sit in the audience, listening to the echo from the mountains. No doubt, somewhere out there, the mountain fairies have again hung out their whitewashing, and the breeze may even carry a whiff of roses. Then it begins to rain. And in the Alm Valley, it can rain day after day after day. When at last the sun shines again, the forest steams. For a few precious moments, the game park becomes the paradise of our childhood dreams, with all the animals living peacefully together. But the truth is that the wild sow and the raven just want to get dry for a change. At the wild pigs feeding place, things have changed since the winter. The pigs have multiplied without restraint, while the raven population has been falling. During the summer, only 30 to 40 birds are lazy enough to stay at the flesh pots of the game park. The other 100 have taken to the forest. Now they can find enough to eat there, and the older ones are already looking for their own breeding territories. The young ravens travel far and wide, supplying tall stories to be told at the local. St. Luke, chapter 12, verse 24. Consider the ravens, for they neither sow nor reap, which have neither storehouse nor barn, and God feedeth them. The year, as was only to be expected, is slowly fading into autumn. The cattle herds are coming home from their summer pastures in the mountains, giving rise to a village celebration. Fortunately, the Reverend has a spare pair of glasses.
Ich sage hier, auf einer Höhe von 1506 Metern, ein herzliches Grüß Gott allen Wackeren, die sich nicht irren haben lassen vom Wetterbericht. Es war sicherlich günstig vorausgesagt, aber es ist voraus anzunehmen, dass es also kühl sein wird.
The cattle are rounded up and decorated according to the ancient tradition. Out here in the country, in contrast to the cities, the year still has a beginning, a middle and an end. And everyone, men and animals alike, is very much aware of it. When the last cow has gone down into the valley, a young raven rises high above the hills for the first time. Sudden gusts of wind can still throw him off course. Conrad Lorenz was impressed by such scenes. He wrote, "Ravens fly for the pleasure of it and playfully enjoy the fullness of their ability." Many inhabitants of the Alm Valley say that autumn is the most beautiful season of the year, and the land seems set to prove it with all its might. The thicker the fogs in the valley, the brighter and clearer the view above the clouds. In these open spaces, thoughts can fly free. Are ravens really special birds? Some researchers say that they are the most wonderful of all creatures. Such enthusiasm may not be shared by the hunter. To him, ravens are birds like other birds. But they are clearly endowed with a soul, just like the lovely valley that is their home.